Okay, so if you remember from the previous screencast, we talked about the levelers and we talked about how Oliver Cromwell was not necessarily sticking to his the ideas of what a republic is, and he did that by suppressing those levelers and getting rid of any kind of competition. He actually names himself after these threats. He names himself Lord Protector, okay, and he starts to kind of rule in a military way. It's called a military dictatorship, okay? So he rules with his army. His army enforces the rules and laws that he imposes, okay? So no longer, we said we were going to be a republic, but no longer are we following those republican ideals, and we've turned into much more of almost a dictatorship. Okay, so what the Lord Protector now does is he creates many, many laws. He is a Puritan, and we're going to follow Puritan rules and Puritan ways. Okay, so the things that he does, and these are important to note, so if you need to pause a few times, go ahead and do that. He closes all the theaters. He restricts dancing. You can only do it indoors in your house, and it has to be modest dance. He closes all the taverns. He makes gambling illegal. So he does all these things with England, and all these things were allowed previously to his reign. The one thing that he does do that is pretty positive that is that he allows religious toleration, except for Catholics. Catholics don't have it, but everyone else does, and even Jewish people, which might not sound shocking to people nowadays, but for Jews to have religious toleration. But back then, Jews were even exiled. They were exiled for 350 years in England, and now they are welcomed back. Okay, and no longer not only does he do that, but he also allows girls to go to school. So now boys and girls can get an education, and their focus mainly is on the Bible. Okay, so boys can learn other things, but girls, their main focus is on the Bible and learning what's in the Bible. Okay, so these are the kinds of things that are enforced, and these are the kinds of things that the English people have to deal with in everyday life now. Okay, after Oliver Cromwell passes away, the people are kind of tired of these military being ruled by a military and having all these restrictions on their lives, that they actually look to the heir to the throne, the just heir to the throne. So another Stuart. Okay, the next in line for the throne is another Stuart, and that's Charles II. So Oliver Cromwell dies in 1658, and Parliament looks to Charles II. He is in Scotland, and they say, "Come back and take over as king." And he does, and when he comes back, he actually is a very good ruler. He plays a very positive role. He reopens the taverns and the churches. He has religious toleration. He has Catholic sympathies, so now they can practice their own religion. And he's actually a pretty popular ruler. He does like lavish spending, and he does like a lavish court, but he wins over the people, and he actually reigns positively for quite some time. The only problem with that is that when Charles II passes away, this guy, James II, in 1685 takes over. Okay, so this king, his brother, another Stuart, he is Catholic. He takes control. He is now King of England. He appoints Catholics to high positions. He suspends laws. And it really worries the people of England. And you think about the last time they had a Catholic ruler was with Bloody Mary. And we know what happened in the case with Bloody Mary. So they are a little scared, okay? And they are not really happy with the way that he is working with Parliament. He's suspending laws, and he's not necessarily listening to them. So what Parliament does, we're not going to have another execution of a king. What they do is they look to James II's daughter. His daughter is Mary, right here. They ask Mary and her husband, William of Orange, to come back to England and take the throne from her father, James II. Um, James II hears about this. William and Mary come back, and James II flees to France. So he runs away to France, and William and Mary are able to take the throne very peacefully. Because of that, it's known as the Glorious Revolution. There was absolutely no bloodshed, and it's known as the Glorious Revolution as well because before Mary and William agree or ascend to the throne, they have to agree to what is now the English Bill of Rights, or back then it was the same, so excuse me. The English Bill of Rights. This Bill of Rights, what it essentially does is it limits royal power. And if you look at the screen, you look at all of these restrictions and all of these rules within the English Bill of Rights. It's really saying that, you know what, we need to have Parliament. Parliament plays a role. The English monarchy, they cannot get too big and too powerful again. There needs to be, this is almost like a check and a balance. Okay, so make sure that you look through this list. Make sure that you know a few of these. Okay, Parliament still has power of the purse. Okay, so that means they still have power over the bank, the Royal Treasury of England. There's a trial by jury now for everybody, and there's that habeas corpus that I mentioned earlier in the first presentation of no one can be arrested without just cause. Okay, and then there's also later on the Toleration Act, which allows religious toleration for everybody. Okay, this is known, the English Bill of Rights, and William and Mary accepting this. This is known as a limited monarchy. That is what is created in England when William and Mary rise to the throne. Excuse me. A limited monarchy is what is a government in which a constitution or a legislative body limits the monarch's powers, and that's exactly what the Bill of Rights does. And this is all of the things that we talked about within this PowerPoint and the previous PowerPoint are all reasons why absolute monarchy did not last within England. It all had to do with that parliament, and that parliament kind of demanding specific rights for England. Okay, so that concludes our very first screencast, and we will review and continue with an activity in class.